addition to being a student and practitioner of organic intelligence, which is a systems complexity based, science-based model for trauma resolution. I also really enjoy the arts. I really enjoy storytelling, poetry, creativity, music, and the art of teaching, the art of growth and development, and the art of listening, and the art of trying to speak in words about truth, which is interesting because truth is an interesting thing. So anyway, this morning I wanted to actually read a story to you that has been really resonating for me in this time right now, as so many stories are emerging about in reaction to and in response to the global pandemic that we are experiencing. And I wanted to share first this card with you that I just drew in the early morning today. It's called Dariri, which is the name of an Aboriginal Australian energetic or deity. And the card is called Hearing Truth. So I'll show you that for you there. So you can see that she is listening deeply in a way that integrates all the different aspects, kind of opening and being receptive to what is beyond the conditioned, habitual way of thinking or telling stories, and to what's the emergent truth, what's the next level of wholeness that is being called forward for me as I hear all these different seemingly opposing stories. And the interesting thing about integration, which is a big part of my work, is that when something is reveals itself as no longer a helpful part of the system, in fact, a disease part of the system, whether that's literally a virus, whether that is a way that leadership is happening, whether that is a pattern in one's personal life, relations, community that is not working anymore, it becomes very apparent. The issue becomes very explicit and loud, and that is the moment when it is most tempting to react toward that thing, to push it away, or to pull it close, to grab onto it, or to check out and dissociate. And there's another way of being with things, and I'm not going to get too much into my thoughts on that. I just want to share this story with you in hopes that it might turn your wheels and be supportive in some way to you, in the same way it has been to me to read this in this time. And thanks to Diane LeBlanc, whose book I just picked up and who happened to have this story in it. Right. It's called The Call of the Wolf. In a remote land, during a particularly harsh and icy winter, some villagers went to their king to complain about a very serious problem. A pack of ferocious wolves was attacking their cattle and devouring their poultry. The king immediately called the best archers from his garrison and gave them the task of ridding the country of those bloodthirsty beasts. "The most deserving among you," the king added, "will be invited to my table with his entire family and will share my meals until the return of spring." There's some external motivation incentive. All the soldiers hurried out to go hunting, courageously braving the snow and the cold. They went alone, each in their own direction, all aspiring to become the king's favorite. For days on end, they tracked the wolves in every corner of the forest, stopping only to eat and sleep. Finally, the first hunter came back and went before the king. He was covered in wounds, one arm in a bandage, and was kneeling on crutches, one of his legs having been cut off at the knee. "I am surely the most deserving, your majesty," said the soldier in a distressed tone. "I fought with my bare hands against the wolves, and even though I haven't managed to exterminate them, I have managed to wound at least one. See, I even lost my right leg," he said, almost tearfully. The king was filled with compassion for the wounded man, but before he could open his mouth, another soldier stood before him, carrying the remains of a wolf on his shoulder. "My king, I bring to thee the skin of the leader of the pack. I shot down this wolf with one arrow, and all the others ran away without asking for more." "Very well, valiant soldier," said the king. "I congratulate you on your bravery." The sovereign was again interrupted by the remarkable entrance of another soldier, escorted by a young wolf peacefully walking at his side. "What is this?" the king asked the newcomer. "Your Majesty," the archer answered, "while my colleagues were chasing the wolves to kill them, I thought that as long as one remained alive, they would come to attack the neighboring farms. I therefore took the time to observe them at a distance, and I noticed that they were neither violent nor cruel, but rather terribly hungry, just like we are during this harsh winter. For them, as for all of us, prey is getting scarce, game is hibernating, and the good weather is late in its return. These wolves roam your lands, savaging farm animals because they have nothing else to eat. So, I had an idea. I brought them a bit of food every day, attempting to lead them further and further away from the kingdom. I guided them to the valley, where the weather is milder and the buds are starting to bloom. The ice by the shore of the river had melted, allowing the pack to quench his thirst and even to catch a few fish. I don't think they will be back this way anytime soon." "What about this one?" the king inquired, pointing at the wolf obediently lying at the soldier's feet. "He saved my life," the young man answered without hesitation. "At the top of the mountain I accidentally awoke a bear by entering his cave, and without the intervention of this precious beast, the ferocious animal would have eaten me alive." The king recognized that this brave soldier was the most deserving of all, and so invited him to sit at his table for the evening feast. But the archer refused. "Thank you, but I have already received my reward, my king." Under the incredulous and even outraged gaze of the onlookers, he continued, "This wolf and I have become friends. We tamed each other, and from now on he is no longer my enemy. I now know that if I am mindful of the needs of others, rather than trying to fight or impose myself on them by force, they will respect me and help me in return. Thus, we both come out winners." An old man, famous for his great wisdom, approached the young man. Laying a hand on his shoulder, he cleared his throat and announced loud enough for all to hear, "Today, this pure-hearted man has integrated one of the fundamental laws of the universe. All outer threats are illusory. They are nothing but the echo of your own fears and the reflection of the shadows hidden within you. Why want to kill this untamable beast inside you, called the ego? when you can decide to listen to it and tame it for it to become your ally. The mastery of your lower instincts will happen easily once you stop wanting to control them at any cost, and instead simply welcome them unconditionally and direct them toward more luminous choices on roads leading to serenity and plenitude within yourself. And you, how do you answer the call of your inner wolf? What type of warrior are you? How do you succeed in making peace and unifying all the parts in yourself? How will I succeed in unifying all the parts in myself? And all the relations around me, my partner, my friends, my family, my neighbors, with people who make different choices than me, with people who tell different stories than me, with my leaders, with the public, forums, with the media, with other states and countries, with all the elements on the planet, the animals, the trees, the waters, the air. In a recent talk I listened to about the wisdom that comes from people who are dying and going through the 5 stages of grief to a place of acceptance, one of the points from this book, The 5 Invitations, some of you may have heard of it, is welcome everything, push away nothing. And I'm finding more and more beauty in this concept that is part of organic intelligence. It defines trauma as unintegrated resource. Wow. What if our fears, if properly observed, tended, shepherded, given the chance to work and partner with us, actually had a gift for us, just like the wolf that befriended the archer. Yeah. And the people who we consider enemies. What if they had a gift for us too? I wonder. Thanks for listening to the story with me.